Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show. Everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because, guys, almost 34 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, almost 34 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now I'm a smartass. Yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. I'm saying all that to say this. There are a lot of people out there struggling with addiction, even with recovery, family members, even with their health. So I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm also a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out and know someone is listening. If you think my book can help someone, because I sure do, you can go right to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing, BAM, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com, and please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. My book is now on audio. My producer, Ruben Rodriguez from Hamilton Radio and Iron Horse Films, put it to audio. Simon & Schuster wanted to, but with someone else's voice, and I wanted my voice with my story, my passion. And if anyone out there has written a book and you'd like to put your voice to audio, reach out to me. Okay, so again, I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. And listen, if you truly, truly, truly cannot afford my book, please reach out to me about that as well. I'm here to help you. Before I introduce my really cool mate, I am going to give a shout out to a few of my sponsors. I have Stormin Norman Selden, 732-245-4777, www.storminnormanselden.com, booking dozens of attractions for concerts and performances on venues of all sizes, from a 5 to 12-piece band. Guys, he is a monster on the keyboard. He came live in studio recently, and I'm telling you, he's just incredible. But he's doing something special now for seniors. He's a senior, and if there's anyone that would like to learn keyboards, he'll come to your home and teach you. Okay? If you're stuck at home, whatever the case may be, if you're bored. A lot of people don't know this, but he helped get Larry Chance from the Earls, the song Remember Then, back in the day started. Larry was like family. We love and miss you. Rest in peace, and I know you are singing in the heavens. Then we've got Ken Ryan and Linda Garofalo, The Way It Used to Be. Singing songs from the 50s to the 80s, a tribute show to the greatest music and voices of all time. And he also sings Elvis for me. Thank you very much. And the two of them are so beautiful. They do so many fundraisers for so many people. And then we've got John Bishop, a.k.a. Johnny B., singer-songwriter, host of the Entertainment Luncheon South, a nonprofit network created for the creative. So, guys, he's also the partner in the Joey D and Johnny B Rockin' Oldies band. Him and his wife, Linny, are incredible. They put on a luncheon once a month, okay? It's by invite only, but if you tell them you know me, they might let you in. And $20, guys, get you a great lunch and incredible entertainment, and they don't keep a penny of it. They're two beautiful people. And last today, but certainly not least, Michael Zanman. Singer, entertainer, performer, www.mzanman.com. I want to tell you a cute little Zanman story, guys. So he's a great entertainer, and he is so funny. Even while he's giving you this great entertainment, you're cracking up laughing watching him. All right, he's awesome. But he recorded one of Mel Carter's hit songs, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, and he posted it on Facebook. Well, guess what I did? I'm friends with Mel Carter, so I sent Mel his song. Well, Sandman didn't know it, but I got him on a three-way with Mel, and he lost his breath. And Mel Carter told him straight to how great he did his song. Imagine that. That was priceless. So thank you, Mel Carter, for doing that for Sandman, okay? He hasn't stopped talking about it. So, guys, I have a really awesome guest, and I'm going to just tell a lot of people that don't even know this, but Australia is my home away from home. I've been there so many times. I've got over 100 friends because I had a poker league back in the day, pre-COVID, called Midnight Hour Poker. And my friends have a poker league, and I stay with my friends when I go, and it's just my favorite place on earth. And I get to hang out with the koalas, and I mean, come on, and the kangaroos, amazing. Well, my guest is from Australia. All right, so I want to introduce Miguel Rios. Say hello to everyone first off.
G'day,
I love it.
everyone. How are you?
Thank you.
I'm Q, yeah.
Aw. How you doing?
I'm good, Jerry. How are you?
I'm good. So, I love your accent. Of course, you know that. And you have a dual citizenship. You said, huh?
Yeah. I got a ton of family in the States, mostly on the West Coast. But my father was born in the States.
Oh, very cool. Do you come
Yeah.
here?
I've only been twice. I
Okay.
came once when I was about 17, and then I went to South by Southwest in 2016. I just finished an album and decided I had this harebrained idea, and luckily my wife went along with it, which was to take the album, finish the album, literally just mixed it and mastered it, and to take it to South by Southwest to get discovered and picked up by somebody. Didn't quite happen that way, but got to see some great parts of the States, and I loved Austin, and saw some great stuff down there.
If you ever come to New York, you better tell me, baby.
I would love to come to
Okay.
I would absolutely
Oh my
love to come.
gosh.
Probably one of the main places on the planet I would love to go to.
Okay, very cool.
But I'll see. It's a long way. It's like 15 hours to get to the West Coast, and then I think from the West Coast of the States to New York. How far is that? That's
So
like
listen,
another
whenever I flew
7
from
hours.
Newark, New Jersey, which is like close to New York, it was like a 24-hour, but I slept. So I
Yeah.
always did the plane ride appropriately, my nighttime. I'd wake up all refreshed. They'd have to meet me at the airport exhausted. But hey,
Yeah. Make it work for you. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, well, I'd love to.
Mhm.
I mean, next time I get over to the States, which hopefully will be soon, I'm hoping to. My cousin runs a music school in LA, and he's just expanded out into Nevada, I think. And so I'm hoping to get over there at some stage and play. I'd love to play gigs. I've never really played gigs in the States,
That's very cool.
and I have the opportunity to, because it's really hard now if you go over and you're Australian. A lot of people that I've spoken to, they go over and they might have their instrument with them, and they
Yeah.
have CDs with them, and they've been stopped, and I had it all confiscated and stuff, the CDs, that is, because of the working in the States thing. They see it as working, and it's become a real thing. So I wouldn't face that. So I feel like I should take that opportunity.
Oh,
that
yes, that's beautiful. Wow.
I don't have
okay.
that problem. Yeah.
Very cool. So let's give Caden Gordon a shout out. He's the one who introduced us. So I love you, Caden. This is amazing.
Thank you, Caden.
Yes,
Yeah,
Caden.
absolutely. He's done great work for us in the States, and yeah, he's really helped us out, which is fantastic.
He's so cool. We love him. So now let's start with your life story a little bit. I want to tell us about your musical journey. Tell us a little bit about your life.
I was born and raised up right at the other end of the country from where I am now. I'm right down the bottom of the east coast of Australia, but I was born and raised right at the top.
But tell us the
In,
names. We don't know the names.
Queensland, North Queensland,
Okay.
North Queensland, mate, and it's a very sparsely populated area compared to the cities here in Australia. I mean, Australia doesn't have a big population, but once you start going to the sort of up to the more remote areas, it's not many people live up there. So we were like a couple of thousand kilometers from a big city. There's no internet at that stage. You get two TV stations, and so you didn't get really exposed to a lot of new music. I was in terms of music, I was interested in. We had a big record collection where I grew up, and that was my introduction to music. Was not necessarily current stuff, but well, I guess it was current when I was a kid, but a bit older. Led Zeppelin, AC/DC.
Yeah.
I was more interested in rock and roll, but then there's stuff like the Beach Boys and ABBA and stuff like this. And we would have these big listening evenings where I grew up with a lot of different other families and kids, and we would have these listening evenings where you just listen to music all for hours on the record player, and look at the covers and look at. It was at this stage I wasn't really interested in being a musician. I was just fascinated by this whole world that was so vastly different to where we were living. And I started at about the age of 11. I started playing guitar, and started out with a group of kids. There was probably 10 of us playing.
Did you have lessons?
Yeah, I got lessons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
one of the guys that lived with us, he was a really good finger picker.
Okay.
And a really good blues player, and so we had lessons, and it was just like sit down. It was just like a one-on-one, not written down or anything. Just I'll show you how to do it. You follow along, and they were pretty. He was pretty. He was one of these teachers that you'd have to learn it, and it wasn't until you got good enough at it that he'd show you the next part, or you progress along. So you had to show a bit of commitment to what you're doing, and pretty soon I was me and a couple of other kids were the only ones left, and I was learning getting into a lot more guitar. This is all electric guitar, mind you. Didn't play any acoustic guitar to begin with. It was all this. I had this little Japanese electric guitar that I'd play, and by the time I was so that was 11. By the time I was about 14 or 15, I was practicing 6 hours a day. I'd get up in the morning, like really early, like 4:30, and I'd play guitar for a couple of hours. Then we do a lesson before school, and then I'd go to school and I'd get home and I'd do another 2 or 3 hours in the evening. So I was really committed to like this electric playing. This heroes like Joe Satriani, Eddie Van Halen, all the metal players, Slash and these guys, and wasn't really interested in the singer-songwriter stuff at all. I was interested more in in the rocking and AC/DC. Angus Young was probably Angus and Malcolm were two of my biggest heroes, and they're the ones that got me. That's Mabel. They're the ones that got me into really playing guitar, and I was just obsessed with doing their stuff, and they're the bedrock of what I learned. And then I still distinctly remember one day hearing my guitar teacher play some Chuck Berry on an acoustic guitar.
Whoa!
Which coincidentally, that's where Angus Young and Malcolm Young got a lot of their foundation from, was Chuck Berry.
Okay.
And I heard he started playing this Chuck Berry on this acoustic guitar, and it just had such power to it, and it was just like bar chords, and it just had this intensity. And I remember asking him to show me, and then found that it had this whole different skill set involved with playing it. It was more about the right hand, the picking hand. Whereas all the stuff I've been learning up to that point was all about the left hand. It was all about, going fast and doing all these acrobatics with this hand. But then I realized there was so much to be had out of this. In fact, I would say that most of the feel of really good players comes out of the strumming hand, not the feeling hand.
Okay.
which is something that people don't really talk about so much, but especially if you're like an acoustic player or a singer-songwriter or something like that, a lot of the expressiveness comes out of that thing. And from there, I just started learning more and more acoustic guitar, and eventually bluegrass and blues. And Mabel really wants to be part of this interview.
She can.
And,
It's okay with me.
she's chiming in, and yeah, and then started getting into it was Bob Dylan and Donovan and Leonard Cohen. Probably they're the first people that I got into as songwriters, and trying to work out. Like I remember trying to work out, Don't Think Twice or something like that on the acoustic guitar, and realizing that there was this whole other layer of complexity and intensity to it and then there was singing and playing at the same time, something I hadn't ever considered. That's the other thing I would say, if you ever learn guitar from a young age, I would always say learn to sing everything that you play, because it's such a good, even if you never want to be a singer, it's just a good to connect the voice and the guitar at a really early age.
Wait, I have a question about that. So, when you say sing what you're playing, so it could be any words, but you just want to sing.
More if you are learning a song. Say if you're learning a song and you like the song on guitar, instead of just learning the guitar, sing it as well, because even if you sing it badly, you're combining the two. You're learning the two things at the same time. I never did that. I never did that. I always had some hang-ups about singing from a young age, and I got kicked out of the community choir when I was about 13 or 14.
Oh, that's not nice.
No, it wasn't nice, and it gave me some. I guess I was a little bit hung up about singing, and also the other people that I used to play music with in the band were all siblings, and they were more what you would call maybe natural singers, but I've come to realize that natural singers doesn't really exist. It's just what you've been exposed to, really. And anyone can sing, really. It's just what you've been exposed to, and confidence. And so it took me a long time to connect guitar playing and singing, and it was learning early songs like heaps of Bob Dylan songs. I just learned stacks of his stuff, stacks of Leonard Cohen stuff, or lots of Donovan stuff, lots of early blues stuff, lots of Chuck Berry and B.B. King and lots of other blues material as well, because that blues has always really fascinated me, and I've loved that. I guess I love that influence when it's folk and blues together. I love that combination.
I love blues, of course, yes.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan. I'm probably more drawn to blues than folk music, and they're very different worlds out here as well. The groups of people involved, and yeah. So from there, I just started writing. I think I wrote a song when I was 16.
Okay.
And it wasn't very good, but I thought there was something about the process of it that, in fact, I found it pretty easy to write. Like, it just came, it's the first song, you just write anything, and I didn't put any pressure on myself. And but I remember the feeling of writing a song and thinking, wow, this is better than trying to create this is better than trying to get really fast on my instrument and be really virtuoso type playing. That I think at that age I've sort of put a bit of that behind me, but I did start doing a lot of finger picking. So I started learning a lot of John Fahey and Leo Kottke finger picking, those two in particular, but also a lot of old blues stuff as well, and like Lightning Hopkins. I remember the first time I heard Lightning Hopkins, just thinking it was just insane. I mean, I still do, and that all influenced still to this day influences my playing. Is a lot of that finger picking that I learned at that age, but I didn't start learning that till really 16, 17, and then basically that took over from playing the electric guitar, and I started trying to write songs, and I've been trying to write ever since, and writing songs ever since. Yeah.
About how many songs have you written?
Maybe completed, maybe 100.
Okay.
Maybe.
How many have you
Maybe.
recorded?
Oh, probably maybe 50.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, hard to say. I find starting songs really easy. I find it really easy to get songs about 80% of the way there, and then doing that last part and finishing off the recording is like, that's when it's finished. Really, is
Okay.
when you've recorded it. And even now, I'm getting set to record a stack of new songs at the moment.
Okay.
And there's songs that I've had for a while, but it's just that little 10% of the finishing touches of it. And I like the idea of having them almost finished before you go into the studio, but having a little bit of uncertainty there, because I think it creates a little bit of it's like a bit of a live show if you can do that for yourself. You're not quite certain, rather than having this really, it gives you the allowance to do a performance, I think, rather than like a recital.
Okay.
So if you're not totally certain of it, I think I like that element. A lot of people probably would disagree with that, but I like having that thing. Recording has to sound, it has to have a lot of life in it, and it's
Okay.
easy to overplay stuff, so there's no life left in it. And now when I write a song, I tend not, if I think it's really got some, it's going to be good, and I think it's really got some good feel in it, I tend not to overplay it, because I want to capture a bit of that in the studio. So I want to capture the newness. Okay. A lot of the time you'll get a new song, and you'll demo it, and you'll really like that sound that you got there, because you play it, and when you're playing your own song and the hairs on your neck are standing up on your own song, you think, oh yeah, I'm doing something that I'm reacting to here, so probably other people will react to it. And so you want to capture that, and so I'm careful now not to overplay things. Yeah.
Oh. So very cool. So listen, why don't we give the audience a treat? I have a few of your songs we're going to be playing, so why don't we play the first one? Producer, let's play a song.
When I was a kid, not very old, we lived on a hill down Slaughterhouse Road. Wild tobacco grew in the snake garden, where we walked for days and never reached the end. To the big blue lake, so deep and so cold, which lay at the very end of Slaughterhouse Road. Lived in our own world, kept the door closed, can't ever go back down Slaughterhouse Road. Well, up on the hill, up further you go, till you reach the slaughterhouse, standing lonely and still. Well, nothing much came or went from it, just a useless band of barefoot misfits. The dead wood sticks made the world look old when we were young down Slaughterhouse Road. The nights got longer and the howling wind froze, but the fires never warmed up Slaughterhouse Road. Well, 52 cars all lined in crooked roads, all tumbled down the hill on Slaughterhouse Road. Well, we broke into the bakehouse store to get the replica pistol to be outlaws. Well, later that night, a red fever took hold. I still remember the face coming out of the cold. Ah, the magic man called all his doves to come home when the last sun was setting on Slaughterhouse Road. The ghost is still calling me, carry me home, but I'm never going back down Slaughterhouse Road.
First of all, it's absolutely beautiful. Tell us about this song, when you wrote it, what it's about, what inspired you.
I wrote this probably 2019, maybe, and it was inspired by a place I lived on called Slaughterhouse Road in far northern Queensland, and I was part of a community of a large community of people, and it was I was only young when we lived there, but it was a sort of crazy place, lots of crazy going-ons. And a lot of the stuff in the song describes, it's not autobiographical by any means, but I've got there's a writer's, what do they call it, poetic license there, but it's inspired by what a little slither of life at that age, and it was probably inspired to write by. I'd written up until the time I'd written that song, probably a lot of stuff that was not necessarily about my own life, and was maybe inspired by things that I'd seen or been around, but wasn't necessarily about my own life. And I decided to do that. It was probably, I can't remember. I think it was just I just reached a point in my life where I was very reflective about my life growing up in North Queensland, and that song just came along, and I played it to a few people, and they really reacted to it. They really connected to it, and people would say, they couldn't believe that I lived on this road called Slaughterhouse Road, because probably when I first met my wife, I would tell her these stories about my life in North Queensland, which seems like now it seems like it was someone else's life. It's so far removed from the life I'm living here, and I'm a parent now, and all that stuff changes. But even moving so far, it's hard to explain what that sort of isolation it feels like. It's unless you've experienced it. You really feel like you're in the middle of we were in the middle of nowhere.
But wait, I have a question for you. So there was a slaughterhouse on that road?
Yeah, there was a slaughterhouse. So usually what we would do as the community would do would be they'd rent a cheap farmhouse from somebody that had maybe had some farmland, and would have these really basic, because it's the tropics up there, you need very basic living arrangements, tin shack, you can live in, no problem, because you don't really need insulation from the cold or anything like that. It's mostly just keep the rain off. and so you live in these fairly basic houses. We'd rent them for fairly cheap. And this particular one, yeah, there was a house, and then behind the house there was this slaughterhouse, and it was disused. I think by the time we lived there, I was only very young. I was probably like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And when I say live there, we had lots of different properties, so we'd get shuffled between these different properties, and so you'd spend time there. I don't know. I felt pretty nomadic at that age. Didn't really know which one actually lived in, but spent a lot of time there, and it really had an impact. I think because of its setting as well. It was on this, windswept hill. There was wild tobacco around, and then there was this lake at the very end, which it had all these visual elements that really stuck in my head. And then there was this slaughterhouse, and as a kid, you're just told that that's the slaughterhouse. Don't really go up there, which of course we would, but it just all these things are conjured up in your mind of what
Sure.
the ghosts of these animals.
Yeah, I would not have been happy because I was an animal lover. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Right.
It was it invoked all these things, real or imagined, that.
No good.
But but that was so, and then it was one of those songs that was written pretty quickly, and then I performed it live, and people just had this reaction.
It's
to
beautiful.
It had this, and it had this other element to it that was very different than probably all the stuff I'd done up until that point. And I used to tell these stories, as I was saying before, I'd tell these stories to people. I'd tell them to my wife, and they would just look at me like in disbelief. And I'd say, yeah, Slaughterhouse Road, just as like a normal conversational thing, and they look at me thinking, is this guy for real? That's not really like something that is an everyday thing that you hear.
Right.
But to me it was, and so I started writing about this sort of stuff, and people just reacted to it, and I in 2020 I recorded it. So that's a single take. That song it's just playing from start to finish, guitar and singing at the same
Beautiful.
time, and which is the way I wanted to make that whole album. That's part of the album Slaughterhouse Road.
Okay.
And it sort of suits the feel of that type of song as well, because it's it's a narrative, and it's it needs that impetus that's created from just doing something, and as I'm terrible at remembering lyrics. I'm really bad, and so you're sort of just on the edge. When you play something as a live take, you're on the edge of your seat. You never know what is exactly going to happen. And it was to tape too. So we did. It was, the whole thing just worked really well, and the recording came out really, really well.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me, because when I saw the photo, I said, I have to ask him what this was really all about. Thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful song.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So now we're going to play song 2, and then we'll have you talk about that song.
Okay, cool.
1, 2, 3. Lord, this is a long, long road, and I'm carrying a heavy load. I'm a drinker, fighter, I carry a ton. Lord, that's where I'm coming from. Out with the boys, I act real cool. Truth is, I've been a real fool. I've fronted every court in the land. I plead this is just who I am. I believe I'm an innocent man. No one listens. I'm sent down again. My time's nearly up. Soon I'll be free of a life that will be the death of me. I kneel before the precious Lamb who was nailed to a tree, an innocent man. rising sun. I'll be grateful when this day is done. I gotta keep this pickaxe swinging to the beat of the song the boys are singing. Lord, only you can set me free. Everyone else is giving up on me. My time's nearly up. Soon I'll be free of a life that will be the death of me. I kneel before the precious lamb who was nailed to a tree, an innocent man. I pass my case to your higher power to plead for me in my final hour. Only you, Lord, can understand the pain of being an innocent man. My time's nearly up. Soon I'll be free of a life that will be the death of me. I'll kneel before the precious lamb who was nailed to a tree, an innocent man. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent man.
Come on, tell everybody about this incredible song.
Well, that's much more recent song. That was I recorded just recently at the end of last year and released this year. But I wrote that with so actually a lyricist named Lola Brinton
Okay.
wrote that song, and I met Lola in 2018 at a songwriting retreat, which was absolutely brilliant. I'd never been to anything like that before and didn't know anyone there, and I went there, and the one person that had contacted me before was this person called Lola, and we'd spoken on Facebook a couple of times before I got there, and she had these songs sort of more or less ready that were written, because you obviously collaborate with people, sit down. And she sat down with another guy, Martin Sykes, and myself, and she said, I've got these couple of songs here that I think, I'd love you guys to have a look at. Because she had this whole book full of all lyrics. And she said, this one is inspired by the movie Cool Hand Luke. And, she said, the only thing she said was, I've got this sort of chain gang feel to it. And because she doesn't play an instrument, Lola, she just writes these great lyrics. And so we sat down and we did the song in like an hour or so, not very long. We'd written the whole thing, or we'll put it to music, I guess, and come up with a melody and stuff. And then you play, part of the retreat was you play your song that evening. So you get up in front of another 40 songwriters and play your song that you just created. And we got up and played it, and people just loved it. It was because it was mostly country music songwriting, and so it sort of had a bit of a crossover. I've never been very good at sticking to specific genres, and it sort of had a crossover feel and it had a bit of a blues backbeat to it. And so ever since we wrote it in 2018, I've been trying to record it because Lola was very keen to record it. And Martin couldn't make it down for the recording when we actually finally did it because he lives in a different part of the country. And we had a guy named Hugo Race, who's a terrific musician and producer, and he produced the song for us. And we had excellent players come and play on it, and we had an excellent time just making it. It was 2 days in the studio. It was brilliant. And it's interesting hearing, like, I love collaborating on stuff, and I love working with other people, even though I'm like more of a solo artist these days, I guess. But collaborating with people, if there's any chance that I get to do it, I really dig doing it. And other songwriters I've spoken to, I've expressed how they wouldn't necessarily do this with taking someone else's lyrics, but I see it as
Why?
I guess because I've got that background in learning guitar and stuff like that.
It's still
And
okay.
it's good. It's a challenge, and and if the words are good, I see it as just another way to create something, And so I've loved working with Lola, and as I was saying earlier, I can't remember which songs that we'd aimed to play, but we recorded another song in the same period, and it's been great seeing people's reaction to these songs that I didn't write necessarily, but I had an impact in terms of the musicality of them, and I'd do more of it if I could. It's really great.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. While I was listening to it, I'm picturing Jesus on the cross,
Yeah, Lola's very spiritual.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily, spiritual in terms of probably, I am in terms of nothing organized though. But I could relate to all of I love any sort of reference to religion in music, because I find the story of of Jesus, I find the story of any religious background very interesting, and because I'm a storyteller, and I love stories, and I love hearing about anything like that, and so her words were really they were excellent.
Beautiful.
And they just summed up a picture in my.
Yes, I went to Israel in the 90s with my dad, and we got photos with us near the tree that Jesus was crucified on.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
yes, really. And it was amazing. They still have the 3 trees. And it was amazing. So I'm listening to your song, and my dad's gone, and it just made me smile in my heart.
Well, that's great.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's always interesting to hear what feelings are evoked by your songs, and I really like the fact that anyone can take anything from any song.
Yes.
And they can put it in the context of their own life, and that's probably what got me hooked on Leonard Cohen so much, is that I found his lyrics. Just every time I listen to them, I think I never know exactly what he's saying, and I think that's part of the beauty of a really good song. It shouldn't be explicit, like everything's spelt out, and everything is like a perfect narrative that goes from here to there. I think, because I don't think anything happens like that, And if you can put it in the context of your own life, that's what it's meant to do.
Yes.
And the fact that you say that it can do that for you, which is fantastic, then it's worked as a song.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now we're going to play your third song. Okay, producer, let's hear the third song, and then we're going to talk about that one.
Oh, black dog, you sleep outside my door. I try not to feed you all, show you love at all. I see you down the street, slick back hair with a black coat on. Oh, black dog, I'm not listening to your song. Well, I tried to leave you when you're so far out to sea. I tried leaving you where there's no turning back. When you're out on that ocean and you're nothing but a speck. Oh, black dog, you haven't caught me yet. So hey, oh, oh, black dog, why do we pretend? You say there are no others, and that I'm your only friend. Well, I hope this is the last time that we ever meet. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing, you're a liar and a cheat. So black dog, don't come round here again. Leave your whining, leave your scathing, save it till the end. 'Cause I found a different color, now the world can see me move. Now black dog, you're not chasing me. I'm hunting you. So
All right, come on, tell us about the black dog, baby.
The Black Dog. So this was written about the same time as Slaughterhouse Road, maybe just a little bit before Slaughterhouse Road. I can't remember, but basically, a friend was talking about someone he knew that had been chased by the black dog. Was his explanation why this person wasn't around. He said, I think the black dog's after him at the moment. And I thought, at the time, I didn't really say anything, but I was thinking, wow, what is that? I'd never heard I think I'd heard the expression, but I'd never really given it much consideration what it meant. And all the way home, as I was driving home, I just had this picture of this black dog stalking this person or chasing them. And the song started to sort of formulate in my head. And by the time I got home, I started writing it down. And in the beginning, it had way more, like it had like 10 verses or something like that. And I culled it back to just 4 because I had this black dog doing everything. You know, I just yeah. It had this. It could do. It just seemed to. Once I started writing about it, I thought, oh, of course, it could just. It just sort of seems to permeate into everything. Potentially, if you let it, and then I looked at I've had a lot of bipolar in my family. There's been people that have suffered from mental illness, and a lot of people. When I started playing the song live, people would come and they would have this once again these incredible reactions to it being played live, whether they thought I was the sufferer of of depression, or because the saying is synonymous with depression, and they would, whether they thought it happened to me or they would react to it about someone they knew. They'd have the people would hug you and they would tell me that this is so great to hear something spoken about that is it sums up this feeling. That's what they mostly said. It seems to have this feeling, this thing that, and I guess that's what I wanted in the song. This thing that you just can't get away with. It's like a shadow, and so you have to somehow learn to live with it, or sort of tame it in some way.
So why don't you do Black Dog 2? And let us hear all the other stuff that they're doing.
maybe.
That's pretty cool. I'm being serious.
Yeah, there was. It was one of those songs that got away, and I just went, yeah, this could go anywhere, and we have such a good time playing it live, and it's not really meant to be a downer song.
No, it's not. It's not.
And it's meant to be uplifting and sort of have a bit of redemption or something about it. But I think the people who are very affected by depression, it can be a bit much for them, possibly. I'm not sure, but I don't. I wasn't intending to write it to. I don't know. I don't really have the intention when I write songs for it to be anything about except what comes to me. Like that came out of the blue, and then the words and the idea came out of the blue.
Right.
It certainly wasn't a lot of
No.
forethought behind it.
I think it was adorable. Okay,
Thank
and it
you.
makes you
Thank
think,
you.
and it was uplifting. It was not, it wasn't a doggy downer. Okay.
No, that's good. That's good. It's
It
not meant to
wasn't.
be.
So
Meant to have a lot of high energy and Ash. So the guy playing fiddle is a friend of mine, Ash Jones. We've been playing we've been playing together for 14 years now, and he's an amazing fiddle player, as you can hear. He really just goes to town on, and so that was completely, once again, that was a complete live take. That was just running it,
Right.
just run the tape, let it go.
Very cool.
Let's see what happens.
So Miguel, I'd like to read a poem out of my book now.
Okay, sure.
And the reason I choose this one, I wrote this poem called Utilizing Gifts and Talents. And I like to sing. I don't sing. I wish I could. I can't be great at everything, right, Miguel?
That's all right.
I like reading this poem when I do a lot of singers and entertainers because I'm going to get messages saying how great your music is. I'm telling you right now. They wish they could write like you. They wish they could sing like you. And there are a lot of people out there that don't realize we all have something to offer. And if this is you struggling with your self-worth, please listen to every word of this poem, okay? Utilizing Gifts and Talents. We are born with talents, we are born with drive, with different gifts to help us thrive. I knew early on I was born to draw and paint, to also write poetry and to talk without restraint. Our gifts and talents should all be used, God's gift to us, not be abused. We can go far in life for sure, using our gifts to go on tour, like this guy's doing. He's going to be coming to New York, I promise. All our talents should be used to create ourselves and more, but then our job's to share them, to even up the score. You see, in life, what's needed is not just for ourselves. Once our gifts are mastered, take them off the shelves. A living we can make by spreading them around, not just for the money, but to spread a peaceful sound. Don't take for granted the gifts you're given. Go out and spread the joy. Our gifts are not to be held back for us to self-destroy. Put your efforts forth. Do not hesitate. All your talents, my friend, are never second-rate. Never hold them back or you will surely die. Maybe not in body, but your soul will cry. Our gifts were made to share, our talents made to soar. Go through life enlightened, and then you can roar. Be proud of who you are. Be happy you're alive. Once again, my friend, your gifts will help you thrive. By putting efforts forth, not keeping them at bay, your name, Miguel Rios, baby, will live forever, forever and a day. So go through life excited for what you sure can give. To yourself and others is our reason to live. Our grave will be quite lonely, but our legacy lives on. So make sure people smile, with the breaking dawn. And Miguel, that's what you're doing. You're
Right
making
on. Right on, Jerry. Thank you.
you're making people smile. And you know what's
I
so
think you're right. Sharing stuff around is is the thing. If I go into playing a gig, one of my favorite things is playing a gig where I don't know anyone or no one maybe knows my music, and then you see someone reacting to it
yes.
or enjoying it, and it's just the best thing.
It is the best.
Yeah.
I always say, like, music saves lives. You know that. If you go into a nursing home, the people can barely move. I used to bring entertainers into our local nursing homes, and they would lift their heads and try and
Really?
move.
Wow.
It's amazing, amazing. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say something cute about you. All right. So not only are you cute, not only are you my mate, because I love Australians, your accent is amazing. I just love it. Listen, even if you couldn't sing, but you can, people wouldn't care. Americans, anyway. All right, you just can keep talking to them, okay? That's all they care about. So anyway, we always
I
say
have to remember that.
we
I have
love
to
your
remember that when I get to
accent.
New York.
Yes.
Just keep talking. Keep
Listen.
talking. People will want to listen.
No, and make sure you always say "G'day, mate." They want to hear it, okay?
Really? They love the G'day Mates
Oh
so
my
much.
gosh, they love it. All right.
Really?
So my mates from Australia are going to be
That's awesome.
listening to this, okay? So I'm going to share a silly story with everyone. I told you a little bit about it, but I'm going to share a silly story with everyone. So I had a poker league pre-COVID, and I joined forces with my friends in Australia who had a league. And my winner of my league, we brought to Australia to play in this $100,000 game. And all the Australians were waiting for the Americans, me and my friend, to come, right? So we walk in the door, there's like 100 of them, and they come running at me, and they're going, "How you doing? How you doing?" I cracked up, I grabbed the mic, I said, "If you people think I came here to hear you try to talk like me, forget about it. Let's have it." And they're all yelling, "G'day, mate, g'day, mate." And I'm like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
So, Miguel,
We
listen.
love the New York accent, see?
See, and we always say we don't have an accent. You guys do, but I get it. But listen.
Well, my grandfather from the West Coast used to always talk about the New York accent,
Okay, see?
and he would do the New York accent. Of course, you can't do the New York accent. I wouldn't even attempt it.
And we can't
But,
do your accent.
But yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it very strong.
So-
So many movies and TV that we see, or even music, is from that part of the States. So
So
you
funny.
can really hear it. And in terms of getting being inspired by other people, and someone that's I believe has just moved up to that part of the country where you are recently or a little while ago. I wrote to a guy in the States. A producer and a singer-songwriter called Joe Henry,
Oh, okay.
who is excellent, does excellent work producing, but also writes great songs and stuff. And I listened to a podcast where he spoke about, because I love the recording approach that he was taking, and he was just so inspired in his discussion about producing, because I'm really interested in producing as well. And I thought I'd write to this guy. And when you think you're going to write to someone in America, you got Australia, a tiny country in the middle of nowhere, not a tiny country, big country, small population, a long way from things. You think you're never going to hear anything back. And sure enough, I heard back from Joe Henry about a week later. And he just gave me these words of encouragement that are still ringing in my ears
Share.
years later. And his words were to keep going,
Okay.
and to try and to look around you and try and find the people creating that have got are coming from a similar place that you're coming from. And his words were, they'll be there.
Okay.
He goes, if you look for long enough, they'll be there. And I remember at the time thinking, I can't think of these people.
No, that's
And
beautiful.
sure enough, the more I looked and the more I've looked around, they are there, and I've connected with people. And so it was they were just excellent words, and really rang true. And but that was completely that was I'm not very good at just reaching out cold to people, and you know, I don't really have that confident air to just do that, but I've done a few things like that where it's really you get someone responding to you,
Yes.
and you know, with their own personal email, and the guy would probably gets bombarded with emails, you know, all the time, and the fact that he took the time to do that and was just great.
First of all, you need to build your confidence with doing that. Reach out to everybody because, again, I'm telling you, we love Australians. So
Yeah.
reach out to everybody, baby, okay?
I do want to reach out to everybody.
know,
Thank you.
do it.
Renewed confidence to do that.
Seriously, do it. So, Miguel, we have a few minutes left. I'm going to give you back the mic, about 5 minutes. I want you to share how everyone can get your music, anything cool upcoming, and anything that maybe you forgot to say that you want to say to everyone listening.
Okay, you can listen to my music on Spotify, Miguel Rios. There's a few of us, so you might have to look for, if you look up Slaughterhouse Road or something like that, Miguel Rios, you'll find my stuff. There's miguelriosmusic.com is my website where you can find stuff about what I'm doing next, and you know, all the catalogue of my music. I'm on Bandcamp, where you can buy CDs and singles. It's probably the best way to support musicians these days is via Bandcamp. And then all the other Apple and all these other streaming services that I don't really know that much about. But yeah, I am on the streaming ones. Unfortunately, you have to search for the name because there's a lot of Miguel Rioses. I don't know if you found that, Jerry.
Yes, I did.
But yeah. So it can be hard to find.
Look for Australia, Queensland.
Now
Right?
look for Australia. If you
Yes.
search Miguel Rios in Australia, you should be able to find.
That's how I had to do it.
Yeah, that's how you did it. Okay,
Yes.
that's good. That's good advice to give. So yes, Miguel Rios in Australia. Hoping at some stage to come to the States, as I was saying earlier. I don't have a lot of touring plans apart from that, because writing is the thing that I focus in on the most, I guess, and recording. And so I'm just about to go into recording a new project with a friend of mine producing it named Henry Hugo. And we've already started working on the material and hoping to have that out next year. I want to do more collaboration, so I'm hoping next year to just build on what happened this year. This year was the sort of a lot of things came out of the blue, and I was able to do a lot of work on a lot of different projects, and they sort of came my way a little bit. I didn't have to. It didn't feel like I was out there chasing ghosts as much. It felt like I had a bit of momentum. So I'm hoping that will happen this year as well, and I'll be able to do more. I'm always looking to do more projects. That's what, if I could be working on multiple projects at the same time, that would be. I'd be very happy with that. But yeah, that's sort of what I'm up to.
Well, that's beautiful. So I want to thank you personally for honoring me because, again, you know how I love Australians and your accent, and you're amazing, and your music is awesome. So I was so excited for this. Again, a huge shout out to Kate and Gordon. Love you. Thank you for this connection. Miguel, you're going to go far because, first of all, you're young. Second of all, you have an incredible voice. You do. Your voice.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. That means a lot.
I'm going to tell you why. Your voice has that soothing, and so no matter what style you sing, your voice is so soothing, okay? And it's beautiful. So I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Okay, and just keep doing what you're doing, and know how good you are, man. Okay.
Thank you. It's probably the thing that I'm least confident about still, but
No.
hearing that is very.
It's the truth. I wouldn't say that. I mean it. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean
Thank
that from
you.
the bottom of my heart. I think your music is amazing. So keep it up. listen, my door is always open. All right, maybe 2025, reach out. I think you're awesome.
When I get there, I'll definitely be dropping you a line.
Okay,
Saying g'day.
very cool.
No
Now,
worries.
don't get off the screen when it's over. I just want to talk to you for 2 minutes, okay?
Okay, no
Okay.
worries. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And everybody share this video. Producer, take us out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
It's really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.